What's up, guys? This is Jason from Boston DJ Services, and I just wanted to do a quick vlog slash kind of case video. You're going to have to appearance the boxes in the back. It's a little bit messy in my basement right now. I just got some new gear, so I'm really excited about that, but I haven't had a chance to clean up yet. But I wanted to kind of talk about some things I was thinking about last weekend at an event. Last weekend I had a larger event using a decent amount of lighting and a couple of custom projections and a 20-foot high truss. So as I'm setting up, I'm plugging things in, and I'm looking at a relay pack that I have mounted on the truss. And I got to thinking, if that relay pack goes, how am I going to fix that? How am I going to replace that? That single relay pack is one point of failure for my whole lighting system. And let's talk about that for a few minutes. Point of failure. That is one point in your system, in your rig, whether it's lighting or audio, that a whole piece of your rig can shut down, or your whole rig can shut down. A single power outlet can be a point of failure. A relay pack, a DMX board if your lights don't go sound active, anything that can cause a whole hell of a lot of trouble for your rig. That is called a point of failure. So I was thinking about that. How am I going to swap that out if that relay pack goes? Either I can stop bringing a ladder with me to every gig that can go 20 feet in the air. Well, that probably won't fit in my trailer. Or I can bring that relay pack down and have it sit down with me at the bottom 20 feet below, like I used to do in the old days when I had a 10-foot by 10-foot truss. I would usually just kind of run the extension cords down along the side and bring them down into that relay pack. And I had started to mount this relay pack not really thinking about it. But as I was looking at it last weekend, I thought, oh no, if that relay pack dies, my whole lighting show is going to be non-existent because they can't get power, so they can't just jump into sound active mode and kind of limp along through the show. So that's kind of something I wanted to bring up, especially to some of the newer DJs. Look at your system. What is a point of failure in your system, whether it's audio or lighting, whether it's projections or anything like that? Something that your client is paying for, that if one piece fails, the whole thing might fail. So take a good hard look at your system, and it doesn't have to be right before a gig. Unfortunately, like I had realized last weekend, it doesn't have to be before a gig. Take a weekend, take a night during the week, look at your rig, set up your backup equipment, know exactly how things are going to play out, and don't just know in your head how are they going to play out, because you never really know how things are going to go until you actually try them. And that will be the best advice I give to you this whole video. Know how things are going to go because you have tried them, not because you have a theory of how they are going to work out. So take a good look at your whole rig and try to pinpoint, if that goes, the whole thing goes. Or if that light goes, what do I have to kind of back it up? Well, I've got 3 more. Well, if both of those lights, which are plugged into each other, go, what's the result of that? Well, now half my light show is gone if you're using 4 lights. So that's just one example. Another example. When I was very first starting out with DJing, this was a long time ago. This was about 2 or 3 years into my start as a DJ. I did my first high school dance. I was really, really excited about it, and I had the kids just eating out of the palm of my hand. They were loving the music. I was so excited because it was going so well. I had 4 passive speakers, an amp, all my CD equipment, and a 10-foot by 10-foot truss. I thought I was so cool. And halfway through the event, everything shut down. Now, if you're a newer DJ, you might look and say, I wonder what that could be. If you're a more experienced DJ, even with a year or 2 experience in, you know exactly what I'm about to say. And hopefully, as you get more experience to some of the newer DJs out there, you will have to go through this because it is a good learning opportunity. I had plugged everything into one circuit, and it tripped a breaker. Everything shut down. The breaker that was tripped was actually on my surge protector. So I reset the surge protector. I turned it off, turned it back on. Everything came back on. So in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, that was embarrassing, but everything's working again. Everything's fine and dandy. 10 minutes later, it trips. What is going on? So I'm fiddling around with it. I found out everything was plugged into one circuit breaker, and I fixed it for next times. But you could tell the clients weren't happy. The teachers who had hired me, they weren't happy. The kids still had a great time. They did. I know they did to this day. They were a little bit peeved that everything kept shutting down, but you know, what can you do? But that high school hasn't hired me since, which is fine because it's about 2 or 3 hours away from me. So it's not a huge loss. But the point is, if I hadn't learned from that one particular gig that that circuit breaker, that using one outlet was a point of failure, I would not be able to fix it for future events. I would just kind of keep doing the same thing without ever realizing it. And I never really, I would never really have given it a whole lot of thought. So take a good hard look at your rig the next time it's set up or before it's set up, and think about what can go wrong. And once you have some ideas about what can go wrong, go home, play with it. Figure out whether it's setting up your backup gear and running everything and playing with it for like 10-15 minutes to make sure everything works exactly the way you think it's going to work. Whether it's your lighting. If your DMX board gets fried, can all your lights go into sound active mode on the fly? Different things like that. Start thinking about the different ways that your whole system can get shut down, or even half your system. Make sure you have a backup plan for different things, especially the more important aspects of your rig. If your backup equipment gets fried, it's not as big of a deal. If one light goes because a bulb blows, not that big of a deal. If a whole outlet goes, if a surge protector goes, that's not bad because you can replace it. It will take 5 to 10 seconds to replace. These are some different things you have to know on the fly. What will I have to replace? Where is it going to be? Am I going to be able to access it easily? For me personally, if I had to replace a surge protector, for example, I have another one in the bin that I bring to every gig. So I would just reach in the bin, grab another one, unplug everything, plug them into the new surge protector, and kind of get going again. So these are the different things you want to start asking yourself. How can things go wrong? How will I replace it? Do I know exactly how they're going to work if I have to replace them? And any other questions you can think of, ask yourself. And actually, what would really be helpful is if you ask some questions down below. What are some things in your experiences, to some of the more experienced DJs, what are some of the things in your experiences that can go wrong? What are some things that have been great learning opportunities that have actually saved yourself later on? What are some other things that I haven't brought up in this video? Those would be very helpful for myself, for any inexperienced DJs, and for any experienced DJs as well, because let's face it, we're all still learning. So with that, I'm going to kind of bid you farewell and say practice and enjoy.